This is a new doorknob, and it makes this new sound. Click. It didn't used to do that. These are canes. They belong to Charles Toh if he ever wants them back. But he can't stay here anymore. And this is Charles Toh's walker. I saw him use it, and it's been left here. But there are other things that have been removed by announcement maintenance. This is new from maintenance. I did not request this because there's central air, but it's covered up. This is where the central air thermostat used to be, and we don't know what this was because it was here before, as I saw it in the first entry. It's been here in the apartment. When I moved in, it was here. It looks like it could have been a central air thermostat. This is part of this comes off. I can take this off, but I don't want to because it's unsanitary, and it goes with that. But why wasn't this covered up? You can still take it off, but what for? When the central air was on, either air conditioning or heating, the air would go in here. You could hear it and feel that the air was going in here, and it would come out from up here, which is covered up. There's a filter in here. Do we want to see the filter? They're not sending any more air filters. The office was buying air filters more often than is due to change it for just one person, but there's two people. Oh, the air filter is gone. It was right here in the front, so it's not here anymore. So they took the air filter. Why didn't they just leave it? They were deciding if they were going to cover it up with this problem. This was removed with a power tool and covered up with I don't know what. I can't touch it, so I don't know if it comes off. Hopefully not. So what to do with this extra hole in the wall? Oh, may as well use the... but what do we do with this? Oh, because I don't need a walker myself. If I need one, I would buy a new one, right? Is it hard to get new things when you make a hole in the wall? Is that even a new air conditioning and heating unit, or was that somebody else's? The fan is new. I saw somebody assemble it, and it's here. But I didn't turn it on because I don't want to run up the electricity billing, including I'm not sure if anyone's paying the electric bill with this problem of someone cut a hole in the wall and there was central air here that there, I don't know, don't believe me? Does anyone not believe me that there used to be a thermostat here for central air that used to come out of here, here, and over here? And to be thorough, I can go down the hall and there's no vent in the hall, and there's no vent in the bathroom, which would be here, right? But there's no vent here. So, you don't believe me? Well, you have honesty problems. Like, you maybe don't admit that I didn't want you to give air conditioning and heating units that you have to break the wall and make a hole in the wall. You don't, I don't need that because there was central air. This is what's left of the vents, the one that wasn't replaced. So, is this a belief problem? Well, if you don't believe something, go to jail and prison. I believe that you did something nobody paid for. Who hired you? Who sent you? You charge rent and then you did damage on the apartment with money. It would have cost you money to do that. Well, I don't have an extra dollar for these damages that you have to, that's covered up with somebody's something that wasn't here in the apartment. If it's, let's say if that's a piece of wood up there and then it's been plastered over, the wood didn't come from this apartment. Someone brought it here. Well, did you pay $1 for it? I would not give you $1 for that piece of wood. And the plaster is not mine. Where do you get these materials? Who hired you? Who sent you? And the saw that broke a hole in the wall. I don't have a saw that breaks a hole in the wall. Don't believe me? Don't I look like an honest fella to you? So, I don't want this clicking doorknob. Does somebody just click in a problem? And it's that walker over there. Yeah, but that moves. Should I put it out by the dumpster? Will they keep it there for me? I don't want a used walker. If I need a new walker, I'll let you know. That's a used walker. Are you threatening me with somebody else who used a walker? How do you know how to do that? Are you following God in heaven making plans? Because I don't want to report sexual abuse for that reason. No, because I'm making another motion, and you motion over myself with sexual abuse in public. You're never going to get genitals again. Yeah, but that was a long time ago. Are you banking on that I'm going to die another way? You know, like with this problem. That's clicking sound. I can't stand it. No, what was wrong with the other doorknob? It was not broken. Do you believe me? I'm testifying that the other doorknob worked. It was this color, and this is this color. This didn't change, but it was a little bigger, and it didn't make this sound. How do we click out that problem? They might be coming for the top door lock. This place is nowhere I would want to stay. I'm not fighting them over that I don't want to live here anymore, and maybe that's how they're friends the wrong way. But this is looking worse than it was before. Why wasn't it just, I don't know, why didn't it say that? What kind of time am I looking at? If they don't do the damages that I'm just reporting here on the video, how much time am I looking at that I would be here? I don't want extra time. You can't do damage on the apartment and make me live in it. Yeah, but you can't do damage to myself and make me live someplace else because you don't like me. You don't like me, I don't like you. That didn't put damages on the apartment and give you a walker. Well, I gave these keys to Jerry inside of the office, and I told her she can have them. And she said, no, these are yours. And I don't know why she said that, because this doorknob is not mine. No. So who hired you? Who sent you? Because you took out a working doorknob and put in another working doorknob, and it makes this obnoxious sound. That's your claim on the apartment. The sound, you can have it. Did you click yourself in that you took care of this problem, that I'm not going to be here anymore and you don't like me? Wow, what does that have to do with the apartment and it has a door lock? Don't you just stay away from this part? You don't, because it's called Fremont Gardens. I realize that. But your office is running $1,200 a month on this apartment unit. And how many units are there in Fremont Gardens Apartments Complex? Let's say there are about 100, right? It could be less. It could be like 50. I didn't count them. Is it 50 or 100? If it's 100 apartment units and you think everybody owes you $1,200 a month in rent, how much money is that every month and how much is that in a year? Okay, if it's $1,200 a month, in a year that's $12,000 roughly. So $12,000 times 100 units. $1,200 times 10 is $120,000. Am I right? Hold on. How do you do the math? Is this fair? Are you being fair to me? You're telling me that everybody's paying the same amount of rent is being paid for this apartment, for the space, not for who's in here. You don't know who's in here until you talk to me and you don't like me and you call the police on myself. Then you know who's in here. But not when you charge the rent you're charging for the space. You don't know who's in here. But it's not allowed to have more than one person in here. There's only allowed to be one person's name on the lease for a one-bedroom apartment for one person. Look at how there's only one bed in here and it only fits this way. This bed doesn't fit in there. That means this bed's not allowed to be here at all, and you just leave it here and you still charge $1,200 a month. What's the money for? For the space. All right, for the space. So $1,200 a month is for 10 months. That's $12,000 in a year times 100 units. So if it's 10 units, it's $120,000 a year. If it's 100 units, it's 120,000 decimal point 00. Is it $1,200,000 a year for them to rent out the apartment units in apartment complex Fremont Gardens? Does that sound right to you? And I've been living here for 13 years, so how much money is that? I know the rent went up, so it actually costs more because you are not accepting all the previous rent, and you actually put interest on the apartment that looks something in the neighborhood of creation deceased, just for apartment complex Fremont Gardens, not for all the other apartment complexes in Las Vegas, Nevada, or any kind of mortgage company for the houses in the neighborhood. Are they even paying anything to a mortgage company? Are they informed that I am being charged rent here and that you owe money as well? And then I would like to know how much money is in the bank and put that on the news, because the bank doesn't count the money that high. Nope. Well, I don't know who you're fooling, because I am myself. So let's go into this closet. It's not my closet, but I just disclosed the rent. So is anyone going to clean this up for me? You want me to clean this up for that I paid the rent? You gave me a receipt, so you paid the rent that way. So you want me to clean this up for you? Well, this is left here for me because I'm the gymnast, former gymnast. I'm older now. I can't do that physically anymore. But Charles Toh bought this for himself, and I told him that I used to be a gymnast. It's true. Joellen Meyerhoff knows I'm a gymnast. And then everybody else at that gym. And then I went to another gym as well. We're looking for Nefertira Estrada. Yeah, she's the one who knows I was at the other gym. She's Black, female, and now she's in adultery. She's, I guess, my age, about 48 years old now. So she's not a gymnast anymore either, let's assume. The landlord's last name is Estrada as well. Nefertira Estrada, I know from gymnastics from the year 1980-something. And then now the landlord, Geri, Jerry, her last name is Estrada, but she's not a gymnast that I know from the gym. She's also not Black. Jerry Estrada has brown hair. She's white with brown hair. Is she keeping this for the gymnast? How does she know that? I don't know her that way in the year 1980 something, even though she's her age might be, let's say she's 60 years old. I don't really know how old she is, but I'm just estimating she's 60 years old. I don't know her in the year 1980 something when I knew Nefertiti Estrada as a gymnast, and I was one myself. So who's going to clean this up? It's hoarded. This is still uploading. Taking some time. I wonder if I'm slowing it down. Is anyone superstitious? I started to use the other camera, but wouldn't it be done by now? I don't know how long the video is, but it could be done uploading by now. Anyway, moving right along. Singing in the Shower by Becky G. That's malicious. She doesn't have a shower to sing in. And she doesn't look right in the music video. Her name is Becky, but why? I'm Becky. Why don't you pick another name? Oh, you can't pick your name? I didn't pick my name. Yeah. My name is none higher than he deceased right now. I'm none higher than me. Not if you ask, but if I am myself to myself. You're too close to me to know that about myself. I don't just say it like it's a name. I'm none higher than me. You can't say that. Don't repeat it because you don't understand. That doesn't speak English. So I don't actually say none higher than me. I am myself to myself, and there's nothing above me. I'm aware of that. So this is a seaweed snack from Brian Figus. And he doesn't work for Fremont Gardens. He doesn't work for me. But he gave this to me at a time I was needing food for hunger was the emergency. He bought this in an emergency delivery of food to myself when I didn't have any at all and I was hungry. Yes, in an emergency, he bought me seaweed. Anybody think that's funny? I'm about to make it funny. I'm going to open it. Okay, this is the seaweed. Charles Toh likes seaweed, but he's not here, so I'll try it. Okay, it's a little salty. If Brian Figus is here about my eyes being about the color of seaweed, they used to be brown. Now my eyes are green with brown in them, like seaweed. If he's here for my eyes being the color of seaweed, that's because I'm not allowed to see Cheryl anymore because of her problem with Michael Cooper. I mean, I think he's telling me to stay away from himself, and I don't know where she is when she's with him or if she's not with him. I don't know where he is when she's around. So Cheryl coming to the Flamingo Hotel is not paid for. I didn't go. I didn't meet with her. You can't just send somebody else and say, you're going to take me out to eat. And Brian Figus, you're not paid for it because you scream that you're just going to take my keys away and you're going to zip the threatening. If I don't see Cheryl, I'm going to see somebody else. I'm not in your creator. You can't just talk to me because it's not up to me because I'm not in your creator. I don't move any of you. I couldn't move you from there to there. What do you want to know about Cheryl? Brian Figus and Cheryl, Gus and Cheryl. Cheryl's boss at Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company offices. Her boss's name is Gus. Is that what Brian Figus is doing here? But how would you like it if I zipped the threatening on you? I'm none higher than me. Do whatever you're gonna do. Let it do what it do. I don't zip the threatening on you because heaven is making the threatening. I have genitals. So you're ever not sorry that you made me live with a sex offender who refused to go to prison? What's the point of the cooperation? I wouldn't be going to the same prison as you at the same time because the sex occurred outside of the prison. Thus, you need to go to the prison with yourself at any time. And Charles Toh, he could be in prison now. Does somebody think Charles Toh died because you don't want to go to prison? He might be in prison now. I don't know where he is. He could be somewhere in upstate Nevada in a prison. He might have another name or no name at all in the prison with deceased address. How do we know that he's not alive? Who said that he's not alive? Well, I'm saying he might be in an upstate prison somewhere. And if he is or he isn't, I wouldn't know. That's why you can't assume that he died. Yeah, but why didn't you just drive him upstate in a car and see if you could find a prison? You didn't want to go with him. That's unfortunate. Did you find Charles Toh alone in the wrong and you thought it wasn't your problem? That's unfortunate. I don't have a driver's license since the year 2006. I can't drive Charles Toh anywhere. It's 2025 now. I have the criminal liability not to have a driver's license, and the DMV did not decline my driver's license. I surrendered it that I don't want to drive anymore. Well, they asked me, why don't you want a driver's license anymore? And the answer is, I don't want to drive anymore. Yeah, but I can't say that. I have to say diagnosis mental illness because there's somebody interrupted that I might turn in my license and say I don't want to drive anymore with abducting myself and locking me in a mental hospital. And I don't want to drive anymore that way. I didn't report that to the DMV because that's illegal. I can't really say it. I said diagnosis mental illness. I didn't say who is the doctor. I have to go by the diagnosis being that I get locked in mental hospitals, psychiatric hospitals. That's how they get me in there. I've been in there. I've been in Elgin Mental Hospital in the state of Illinois. And I've been in Ross and Neal Psychiatric Hospital here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And because I can get in there, that's diagnosis mental illness, unfortunately. Then there's Valley Hospital Behavioral Health. Okay, that too. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Valley Hospital. And now it's called And Medical Center. That might be new. I have to get something. Okay. This is a little unsanitary. It is furikake from Trader Joe's, 1.95 ounces. But what I need to point out here is the date is June 11th, 2022. I'm holding it right over this and it's unsanitary. I don't want to do that. It's too late. I'm behind on the motions. I'm wrong that way. If it's not possible to see it, I'm going to give you my testimony. It says June, like this way, 2022, so that's 2022, point 06 would be June, point 11 would be 11th. They actually have an expiration date with the date June 11th. Okay, that's too much information. I need the money that they don't give the exact date. The month and the year is really enough, sufficient. Okay, so I'm going to pour a little out into my hand. Okay. What is that? Oh, those are seeds. Okay, I'm going to say sesame seeds. Okay, that's the seaweed. Okay, this is the seaweed. That came out of the container, as you can see. I have to say that that's what I'm thinking about when I'm looking at it. You don't know what I'm thinking unless I say it out loud and I describe that I am thinking something. Okay, so I would like to make some furikake myself. I have done that in the past, but I did not have a proper kitchen. Okay, that's going to need to be thrown. I have to throw this out. This is not replaceable. I'm keeping it because it's hoarded. I want to wash my hands before I continue, but I can't. It's hoarded, but Charles Toh's not alive in here right now, so it's more or less clean. So let's say I want to make some furikake right now. I have this here seaweed, and it's from Brian Figus. He handed it to me. And then, so I can cut it with the scissors, and I can make furikake this way. Should I fold it? Maybe would that be I don't want to bend it because it can be nice and even and straight. So what else is in the furikake would be black sesame seeds, salt, and sugar, right? So I don't have that Brian Figus gave me salt and sugar, and he's not threatening me that he's funny, is he? If then. You're not a nice lunch companion, Brian Figus. You're very nice to me personally, and that's because you're not my problem, but you're volunteering to give me a problem. You're not my problem, and what are you going to do to me? I don't know him in the state of Nevada, other than he announced that he came from the airport and he's from the Midwest somewhere. I don't really know him in the Midwest by myself being in the Midwest. That's just what he said. Oh, well, what are you going to do to me? Because I have a lot of neighbors who might make those threats, but who are you? Are you putting the pressure on that you're using the airport? I know, but you're not Hans Moser. You don't want to mix with that problem. His name is Hans Salachek right now, and I'm not messing around. Hans Salachek is caught that he didn't sign his name Salachek for his whole life of 44 years of alive. He's not signing his name with credit card, Hans Salachek. You don't want to mix with that problem because he's maybe the second and alive in my house after Donna. So it goes myself and then Donna and then Hans body. They didn't have names originally, and then they named themselves, and so the name was Hans when I heard it. Brian Figus, you don't want to mix with that problem because that's not myself, and that's how we are friendly. I didn't do it. Nope, I'm not himself who signed MasterCard bills all over the world paying for food. for myself and for some other people. And if it was his money at the time, because he is himself, I'm disclosing leverage right here, saying it was my money and he signed his name on it. And I know because he's alive after myself in the house, even though I say that's dad. He's dad, but we don't alive at the same time. I'm alive before that body, and I call him dad because he's somebody's dad. Yeah, but he's not my dad that way. I would have to say I would be male myself if I had a dad. I would not be female and I have a mom and a dad. That's somebody's dad problem. So the furikake is about this big right here from Trader Joe's. And I'm getting it this big right now. Should I keep going? Okay, but where do I catch it? Because I need a container for furikake. Do you know how to get one of those? You just go look around a Target or a Walmart. I don't have a car, so, keep me informed. Or it could be Amazon, right? You can have it delivered here. I don't have a credit card, so keep me informed how you're going to get me a container from Amazon delivered to myself. Is it going to be Brian Figus? Because I don't have his phone number. No. I don't know. Who's he killing? Because I'm not Hans. Hans, that's the credit card fraud. I don't have a live that I could sign for a MasterCard at the ages of 3, 4, 5, 6. I grew my height on Hans Moser signing the name Hans Moser. He's not Moser, he's Solachek. He's Hans Solachek, or he's Hans Moser, and he's not Hans Moser. He's Hans Solachek, and I'm not alive that way, and you're punishing someone who doesn't deserve it, and you don't know why. You really don't know. If you don't know why, you don't want to know. No, you don't want to know. He's a child molester that way, and we can't stop him that he didn't do it. I'm testifying my dad. That's why he's dad. He's not a child molester, except he stole all the money he charged me for rent for my age 18 and older, and he stole all the money and spent it on his family, and nobody threatened him, and now I'm being threatened to death that I need to die to get out of the threatening. Yeah, but it's not going to end that way now. It sort of looked that way for a while, but it's not going to end that way now. Now I'm going to die deceased in the threatening. I'm going to die that you were threatening myself when it was really Hans Moser who died the wrong way and left Hans Solachek in the signature. And he looks just like him. I know that. But if he presents a MasterCard plastic credit card, all it has on there is the number and the name. They don't have the photograph on the credit card in 1981, 1982, 1983. You don't have the photograph on the credit card there. And the driver's license has a photograph. Let's say that's true. If they ask for the driver's license, it has a photograph. I know who Hans Solachek is by the name that I'm giving now. And I know who Hans Moser is because he's a child molester in my house. He's not allowed in my house because he's a child molester. He's due outside homeless on that point that he's not a child molester to himself. To himself. Brian Figus, you don't want this problem because I don't have a problem with you. It's Figus. It's not Hans Moser, who died the wrong way and left someone who looks just like him named Hans. So, died the wrong way. Do I find his dead body? I don't. I'm going to describe him as a shunt. He's a human being descended into shunt of a human being. And I must testify that he died the wrong way by that his name changed from Hans to Hanss, and he didn't survive that the name changed. Somebody else, another one that looks just like him, reported the name change is Hans. So what did he do? Well, he's a home invasion into my house that's not due, but you don't know whose house it is. that's maybe one way you don't know, but of course you don't have the Constitution to know that I own a house. I'm none higher than me deceased. If I don't own a house, nobody does. Let's say that's true. Let's say nobody owns a house because I'm about to give up my house, but I won't have alive anymore after that, and then I don't have interest in myself and alive here. So that's kind of what you did with that. You did not acknowledge that I own my house. You fed me to child molester. That's why you don't want to be an advocate on the side of a child molester who didn't do anything wrong to himself and didn't go to prison on the point that he was threatening somebody who's not himself. And that was money. That was like moving in God as money. And that's illegal. That's how he got so much money with a credit card and nobody stopped him. He needs to go to prison. He doesn't have another way out. Where is he now? Somebody reported that he died, but I am saying that has to do with his name having been Hans, and then it was Hahns, and then he kept that name for as long as it was for me to see him again, and he was too thin and he had a curvature of the spine. Well, I don't know if his name changed again. We wanted to name him Han, Hahn, but I would still call him Hans by Dad so they don't hurt his feelings. I know who he is. Yeah, it's Hans still from my point of view. Until now, I don't see him right now. It might be Han that way, Hahn. But there's somebody else named Han, Diane Han, and Becky Han. That's what's wrong with Han. Becky Han, there's somebody named Becky Han. That's not myself. And then there's Sarah Han, and then maybe the male Mr. Han. His name might be Joseph, but I don't know his first name. I know who Mr. Han is, but I don't know his first name. So what's Dad's first name? Is it Hahn when he had the curvature of the spine and he was too thin? Possibly Han that way, but I would just call him Dad and give him Hans as a name so that he knows that I don't want to say that he has another name, that I would change his name. He didn't say he had another name, so it's Hans that way. Yeah. So now I don't see him right now, and I also don't see Charles Toh, and that's not really paid for because Dad's also not that nice. He didn't give me another place to stay. He wouldn't use his signature on another landlording, and I also don't want this problem, another Charles Toh problem, that somebody walks in through the front door, refuses to leave, and asks me for a copy of my key, and I'm not a key cutter myself. That's needing to go to a key cutter and make a copy. And I did not offer to do that, and I would have to ask for it. And it's not really my ask to do that. That's my ask to be in a prison. Yeah, but I'm not going to jail for you. That's how that happened. The whole life, I'm not going to jail for you. You belong in prison on points. You belong in jails and prisons on points. And I'm not going to jail for you if you don't. On all the points. If you don't go to prison on all the points, I'm not going to jail for you on all the points. Yeah, I'm going to go to jail deceased and threatening at the end of my life here. And when I'm in the jail, I'll be on time to be deceased out of my genitals, female genitals on the Godhead. That must be on time. Yeah, so you're trying to put me in jail for that. You don't want to be there. It's not on time for that. I need to be in jail when it's time for me to be deceased out of my genitals. Female genitals on the Godhead need to be deceased, and then I'm not alive that way anymore. I don't have genitals anymore. So I have to go out of genitals completely. I would have no more genitals on myself if I was in a prison. So that's not on time for when you don't want to be there. For the points that you don't want to be there, all the points, let's say. Well, I'm about done making furikake with just the seaweed. They're not as small as the ones from Trader Joe's, but I could buy it too. I could buy more from Trader Joe's, I guess. But I don't have a credit card right now that I could order it myself. Dad's credit card fraud was too much. It was way too much. Way too much. So I'm going to leave this as is. Brian Figus, would you like to come and clean this up? I spilled a little seaweed on the table. You want me to get that for you? Oh, you want me to get that for myself? Yes, but you're not myself. And if that's the way you talk to God, I don't think God likes it either. No. Well, if you don't think I'm God, I'm just Becky to you. I don't like it, but oh well, what am I going to do? And then what about God above? Maybe he doesn't like that either. Yeah, I'd side with God above. If I don't like it, that you wouldn't do things for me because you're going to fly out of town on an airplane, or you're threatening that you're going to terrorize me as an illegal cohabitation. Thus, you need to live next door. You can't afford the rent. Wow, you come here on very high expenses every year, and you don't afford to pay the office rent. Or you could just stay for free, like I think many of the tenants do. Or you could live someplace else. You could get a house in Vegas. He doesn't want to keep a house that's mine, and then he will bring me food, but he'll live in the house. I don't get it. Where are you going with that? Are you just trying to decease yourselves and threatening? I am not in your creator. You're not supposed to put me through the threatening. I am none higher than he, deceased right here. I can afford everything I say and everything I need and everything I want. I can afford it. If you don't afford it, we will find out in the afterlife what kind of complicated mind problems you made that don't enliven genitals anymore because you don't afford to give me what is mine to myself. It wasn't supposed to be an ask, what do you think is mine to myself? Nobody asked you that question. God above in heaven with no genitals on. That means he wouldn't go through the genitals' minds thinking. God above in heaven is creating what is mine to myself. Well, you just don't believe me, like you're all judges and I'm giving testimony. I can give some testimony, but it's not testimony for me to tell you what is mine to myself every time there's something over a period of 45 years of alive. You don't believe the house is mine, starting with the house is not mine, and then everything else is not mine after that. And how do you have it, but you don't have to say that it's yours to yourself? You don't have to speak. Well, if you wanted to know what it's like to be me, I have the omnipresence of God aliving. I alive. And that's how my house is mine to myself. And I don't say that when you're looking at the structure of the house from the outside or the inside, and you are thinking about that it's not my house to yourself, to you, to yourself, with yourself, and then you don't really worry about that I have leverage on the house. You fit through the doorway is your leverage. That's also leverage against yourself. You have to be careful with that. My leverage alives the house. You don't know that with that you're trespassing in the doorways. You should. That's why you have to trespass for your own inquiry. You can't say you trespass as threatening somebody else. I think my hair is drying and I need more water in my hair. Is that too much information? You're in my house. You don't want to hear me speak when you're in here as a home invasion using Charles Toh as your agent, home invasion that refused to leave my house. And I don't want it anymore. I gave up my house, but I'm still alive here. So this is some evidence of that. I had a house. I don't want the house with somebody else in there. I don't need that about you. You're not giving me new experiences that I wouldn't have seen from heaven. I am here means I don't deserve it. I'm moving the creation with my leverage. I'm not supposed to watch just one of you out of the public that refuses to leave, that you fit through the doorway. That's how you have one elsewhere's. Well, what's your question? You don't want to believe in God? I realize that, but I am God. Doesn't need to answer that question with myself. You don't believe in God, that's you needing to be out in the omnipresence of the formed world, God of the formed world, and then you can know what you believe in or what you don't believe in. That's you and your genitals. Your genitals are not to challenge that I live someplace in a dwelling and you fit through the same front door as I do. You challenged it so hard that I'm going out of formed. I don't have female genitals on the Godhead formed anymore. I'm just waiting here for you. And that's how I'm saying it. I'm here just for that someone else is in the wrong here. So I'm HERE right here waiting for someone else is in the wrong. Yep. It can't be that you, every one of you who's not myself, stand in front of me and say that you don't have a problem. Yeah, and you're just waiting for the end of all time, but you don't know how it would end. I have to end the time. I alive, and I end the time. I'm going to end all the time for you, for everyone. Look at how many of you there are, and you're relying on each other to keep yourselves happy, but you're not happy unless you're in the formed world. That's why you get formed in genitals and you're in the world so that you can see God. But if you just burned your bridges with your own genitals and with other people's genitals because you don't have deceased with other people's genitals, you don't have deceased with my genitals is above and beyond the question you don't afford. How could you think that something is yours to yourself and you don't know what is mine to myself? You have that problem I don't have. And why aren't you in a prison for the question? You're in high-speed trafficking. Is high-speed trafficking your genitals right out of form? You don't have leverage on your genitals anymore because you've been in high-speed traffic, in cars, in car keys that you owe myself, that I have them or that they're in the car in park. And they're never moved. Good luck with that. It's too late from my point of view, but you don't know that. You have some kind of thinking problem that's still thinking it over. Yeah, but it's over. That's what I'm saying.